I'm Stefan Baumann. I would like to invite you on a special journey. A journey of exploration. To discover the splendor. To feel the excitement. And to experience the wonders of painting outdoors. In one of America's most stunning locations, I invite you to come to the Grandview Ranch and see for yourself what a weekend can do to transform your art. Everything you need to know is on our website, www.stefanbaumann.com.
My name is Stefan Baumann and welcome to the Grandview. And today we're at Mt Lassen Volcanic National Park. This park was established in 1916 after a series of volcanic activity. Today, it stands as a testament to how these areas can recover after such violent actions. So come along with me as we explore this magnificent place called Mt Lassen Volcanic National Park. Well, we've just spent 2 hours climbing the summit of Mt Lassen, and for anybody who makes the effort to come up here, they get a wonderful 360-degree view of all of California. From up here, we look right into the heart of Lassen and into the crater itself. Well, we spent a couple days here at Lassen, and I found the most ideal place to paint for our sketch today. It's Manzanita Lake at the base of Lassen. Right now, when we look across the lake, there's a lot of haze over the mountain. And that's because up in Oregon, there's a lot of forest fires, and a lot of the smoke from those fires are causing a haze across the mountain in the background. We're going to take this misty, hazy scene and create a wonderful, wonderful emotional painting. By eliminating all the detail because of the mist and the haze, what happens is that we concentrate on the essence, and we'll concentrate more on the composition, the way things are put together. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to squeeze out ultramarine blue. And ultramarine has a little bit more red in it, and I think it will lend itself better for some of the hazes. We're going to have a foreground, middle ground, and background. Nice 3 sections. And then I'm going to break the sections this way also. So I'm going to go ahead and bring all of my interest points, all of my main highlights, all of my shadows, everything that's going to make this painting absolutely wonderful will be in this little tiny square. Now in the background we have a forest that comes down to the water. And the water is a little further back in the lake than my foreground trees here. And I want to make sure that this line isn't in the center of my canvas. Common mistake that beginning students do is that they put everything in the center. and we're going to start laying in the mountain. And actually, since I have a rag, I'm going to go ahead and just take blue. I'm just going to put in a ghost, since there is no detail showing through except a little bit of snow. I'm actually going to sketch this with my rag. Painting outdoors is really quite simple if you relax and take your time. People are always in a rush when they're painting outdoors, and they always want to get the sketch done so that they can start painting. And if you relax and take your time at the beginning and you don't make your mistakes and you correct them as you go along, you'll see that painting outdoors is really quite simple. And to the left, I've got these wonderful willow trees, and I'm just going to mix up my Viridian green and very quickly just throw those in. I'm just concentrating on trying to get the dark in. I want to get my sketch done so that we can start painting. And I just need the dark there as a base. Most of my sketch hinges on the background, making sure that the drawing is right. Now I'm going to switch to my larger brush. And I'm going to start painting Mt Lassen. See, it actually can be fun to paint a scene like this where the detail is gone and we can just concentrate on the values. And I'm going to be very careful when I get up around the trees. But to be sure that this is correct at this point, I'm going to go to my darker value, which is the row of trees right in front here. And I'm going to lay that in. I want to make sure that there are value changes and that my value changes are correct. Sometimes it's difficult to see that until you actually see it on the canvas. And right now I can definitely see the changes in my colors. So that tells me that there's a nice set of values that are happening. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to flick my brush up this way, just to create the illusion of some pine trees. I'm going to do another row of trees. Now this is the darkest value that I mixed up. This has more burnt sienna and ultramarine blue in it. I'm not going to worry too much about detail, but I am worried about are the layers. See, 1, 2, 3 layers. Those are values. They're almost all the same color, except they're just darker variations of those tones. So with this color, I'm very softly flicking into my dark, and I'm softening the edges. I'm working around the trunks of my trees. Now with my atmosphere around my mountain finished, I'm going to start working on my sky. I'm going to switch to my large brush again, and I'm going to clean it out. And I'm going to take my lightest value. This was with the color that I originally mixed up. And I'm just going to take my brush and just very quickly just lay it in. And I'm going to go real close to the mountain, because the first thing I want to make sure is that my value is correct. I'm going to push that color right up to my mountain. And I'm going to see if there is a change of value. It's hard to tell until you actually get it on there. And yes, we're getting a beautiful, beautiful silhouette of the mountain. You can just see that beautiful silhouette. I want to start getting the glaciers in before we start working on our foreground. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush, and I'm going to mix white in with my sky color. I want almost a pure white, but I want the white to be the same atmospheric color that I have in the rest of my painting. I don't want to use pure white. I want to mix that color together, and this brush is a nice little detail brush. And very carefully, I'm going to start placing these glaciers in. Okay, now with our glaciers finished, we're ready to start working on the water. I'm going to switch to my flat brush again, and I'm going to clean it out, dry it off, and I'm going to mix my blue in with my white and start painting in my water. Just back and forth. Bring that color right down to my log, around my grass. over to the shore. There's not a lot of reflection in this scene because of the wind is stirring up the water. So we're not going to worry too much about reflections. The only reflection is that of the sky. Don't bring a lot of attention to your water. That's the least important in this painting. Okay, now with all my detail in and all my darks in, I'm going to switch to my fan brush and I'm going to squeeze out some highlight color. Cadmium yellow medium. And I'm going to take my fan brush and clean it out. I'm going to mix my Viridian green with my cad yellow medium. We could even introduce just a little bit of the sky color. Now using the corner of my brush, lots of paint, we're going to start laying in our highlights just using the corner of our brush. Now remember, I said that this little square in the middle of our canvas is going to be our main focal point. So we want the brightest area right here. We're going to make the sun just beam right down onto this area. Take your time and relax. Listen to the birds. Now you can actually see that original color that I painted the canvas, the orange tone. That's a good thing to have. When you get back from it, you'll get this glow of light coming through the trees. You don't need to cover the whole canvas, and that's one of the beauties of having the canvas covered prior to you going out on location. Now with this yellow-green on our palette, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to start laying some of the yellow-green in the foreground, and we're going to start putting in the yellow-green in the distant trees. So by mixing this same color again, just use the corner of the fan brush and just lay in the top of the trees. And while I have that paint on my brush, I'm also going to paint the shoreline. The shoreline's a little bit in shadow, so I'm just going to mix these colors together. You load up the brush the same way, just by hitting your palette, picking up the paint, then you hit your canvas and lay on the paint. Just bring this color all the way across to your foreground. This is the silhouette of the trees. Now you can see the backlighting in progress. See the backlighting? The light's behind the trees. You can see the trunks. Makes the whole forest three-dimensional. We can put in some wonderful little branches. And by bringing these trees to the foreground, we create a lot of depth now. So now this whole shoreline is coming at us. Now since we have this color on our brush, we'll lay in the base for our little tree here. There's actually a couple little trees. And then we have a wonderful bush that looks like it's kind of weather worn and beaten. It comes up into my sky, and it will help with all these lines going out of my canvas. It will help keep the viewer in a little bit. I'm going to put some leaves on my tree, and I'm using the same color as my light green that I used in the rest of the painting. I'm just using the corner. This greenery is just breaking through, just creating a little bit of depth. And now with all of this detail done, we're ready to sign the painting.
If you like to take your painting to the next level, regardless at whatever level you are, please feel free to contact me at 415-606-9074. Join us on our website, thegrandview.org, and get more information about our show. There you can download our free book, Everything You Need to Know About Outdoor Painting, along with a free diagram of today's subject.